Hey friend, welcome to Pursuing Goals God's Way. Have you thought about finally starting that business now that your kids are older? Do you ever stay awake wondering how to mesh your passions into purposeful work? Do you have big, ambitious goals but feel overwhelmed or even unqualified to pursue them? Hey, I'm Gabe. Not too long ago, I longed for the confidence to start an online business. I just wanted to make a difference outside my home bubble using my gifts. But I kept telling myself that I wasn't good enough. I didn't know enough, and I didn't have enough time. Until I realized something huge. My kids need me to be their example, and they need to see me win. And yours do too. In this podcast, you will learn how to clarify your goals, plan with purpose, and ditch your distractions. If you're ready to make an impact and an income, all for the glory of God, then you're in the right place. As an avid runner, I believe life is one massive marathon. It's up to you to run your own race and to finish it well. So lace up those running shoes, pop in your earbuds, and let's do this thing. Hey friend, welcome to Pursuing Goals God's Way. I am so glad to be in your ears today, and we are talking about strategy. When will blank happen is probably the number one thing I hear from new clients right before their breakthrough. See, hitting the finish line on your goal isn't an instant gratification thing. Otherwise, everyone would be doing it, right? It actually takes work. It takes commitment. It takes stepping out of your comfort zone. But when it's feeling like it's not working, no matter what you do, frustration quickly sets in and quitting seems like the only option. I mean, why waste your time on something that simply isn't going to manifest, right? I mean, have you had these feelings as you've been working on your own goals? Have you had these feelings as you run your online business? This is the tipping point, my friend. Do you throw in the towel or do you change your strategy? Changing your strategy means throwing out unrealistic timelines because I have a full season of driving kids to activities, homeschooling, working for 2 clients, sitting on our charter school board, and other responsibilities. I realized that I couldn't expect for my own business to just take off tomorrow. My timeline had to adjust, and I had to be okay with slower growth than maybe I was seeing others having, which is sometimes hard, right? Because we get that comparison game going. But guess what? Slow growth is still growth. And I realized that if I had my business where I wanted it to be, but it took 5+ years to do it, it was still better than working 40+ hours a week for the rest of my life. My expectations and timeline shifted to be more realistic for the season of life I am in. So think about that for yourself. What capacity do you have? What season in life are you in? What are you able to give right now? What output do you have? Maybe you do need to shift your strategy, shift that timeline a little bit, shift those expectations. Changing your strategy means pivoting when needed. I mean, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over, expecting different results. Sometimes we just got to mix it up. So, just this past year, I shifted who I was talking to on this podcast, rebranding the name, and got really specific on where I wanted to take it. It was a shift I didn't really plan to make, but I felt God leading me to it. So I just said yes. And I saw growth after making the shift, which gave me confirmation that I was headed on the right track. Pivoting can be scary or hard because it makes us change the way we're currently doing things. But these adjustments are an important piece of growing effectively. Now, you might have to change your timeline. You might have to pivot a little bit from what you are doing. But do you want to know the main strategy that I see that works? Before you throw in the towel, I want you to answer this question. Have you partnered with God on your goals? And are you letting Him lead? It's simple, but it's effective. It also usually gets overlooked because we are so prone to doing it all on our own and wanting to take control of every situation. We want to make things happen. We want to force our expectations and timelines to come to pass. I know I've really struggled with that in the past. I still do at times. But what I realized is really partnering with God and letting Him lead is the ultimate strategy. Don't believe me that this strategy works? Well, one of my coaching clients reached out to me after being at this tipping point herself, with me having to talk her off a ledge of quit. And here's what she said. Gabe, I made a sale. But this one feels extra important, and here's why. From our last one-on-one meeting, you encouraged me to partner with God and include Him in my business. So, shortly after our meeting, I added a daily task to Asana to include God in my business and partner with Him, so that I would pray every time I sat down at the computer to work on my business. So, I've been feeling really frustrated and discouraged again. I'm putting in the work. I'm working really hard. I'm sacrificing. I'm seeing confirmations that I'm helping people. I'm getting validation that people like my content. My audience is growing. I'm in all sorts of collaborations, all really good stuff, but I'm not seeing sales in the way that I would like. So this evening, I prayed that God would help my time tonight go swiftly, smoothly, and strategically. And I prayed that He would help me see and or understand what's going on with the money stuff and the sales part of my business. And then a few hours later, as I was starting to wrap up for the evening, a sale came through. Well, that was a quickly answered prayer. I mean, how cool is that? She went from frustrated trying to do it all on her own with expectations and a timeline that she thought she needed. And as soon as she partnered with God on her goals, gave Him her expectations and timeline, He shows up and says, "Watch me." Now, it might be different for you. It might look differently, but that's okay. I want to know, are you feeling at that tipping point? Are you wanting to change it up but not sure how? Well, I challenge you to take time this week to partner with God. Share with Him your expectations and timeline. Ask Him to change them if needed. Ask Him to take the wheel. Seek guidance for what steps to take next. He cares about your work because even if your work isn't outwardly Christian, it can be used for His glory. We are made to create. We are made to work. We are made to partner with the living God to bring His good news to the earth. You never know who's watching you. You never know what an impact you can make by shifting your strategy, but not quitting. So after partnering with God and asking Him to join you in your goals, how about putting me in your earbuds as your coach through the Mind Over Marathon audiobook to continue toward your breakthrough? It's closer than you think, friend. You can snag a copy of the audiobook at redhotmindset.com/mind-over-marathon, or you can just search for it on Amazon. It should come up. And together, in partnership with God, we'll work through strategy, mindset, and encouragement to propel you forward. You can do this. This is the tipping point. Don't throw in the towel until you've done this one strategy of partnering with God. That's all I have for you today. In all things I pray, you just run your race. I believe in you. Thank you so much for joining me today. I had a great time and I hope you did too. Before we go though, make sure you follow the podcast on your favorite listening platform if you haven't already. If you resonate with this episode, please consider leaving a review on iTunes or share it with a friend, as this helps grow the podcast. Also, if you're not a part of Simplicity and Motherhood, consider joining us. It's a free online community built to provide support and encouragement so you can create balance and live intentionally as you go after your biggest goals, God's way. Head on over to redhotmindset.com for more resources and to find the link to join the community. In all things I pray, you just run your race. I believe in you.